o'clock in here appropriately.
I second that.
Ready?
Oh, we're not started yet.
It's fast a little bit.
Okay, in accordance with state statute section 84-1412, the Open Meetings Act is posted on the west wall in the council chambers for public information. Would you join me in the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Debbie, would you do roll call, please?
Stokely.
Here.
Penrose.
Here.
Swenson.
Here.
Boozy.
Here.
Hugo.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Okay. Consent agenda, city appointed boards and commissions. The Planning Commission, reappointment of David Hughes and Norma Emanuel for 3-year terms. Nielsen Community Center Advisory Board, reappointment of Chris Petrusky and Roger Paus to 4-year terms. Board of Adjustment, reappointment of Jason Minnick to a 3-year term. Fire and Rescue Departments, we have none tonight. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Treasurer's report, everybody get a chance to go over that? Okay, claims, everybody get a chance to check those. Okay, we have one more claims for Constellation. It's for $2,036.27. That's a late one that came in late, so I just need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Rusty, seconded by Jerry. Cast your votes, please. Okay. Public hearings, we have one tonight, determining a nuisance to be found at 1140 West Park Street and directing abatement of the same. Tom will explain.
Yeah, this is, if you recall, we purchased property from Danny Johnson and Janina Hansen for the levee system to construct the berm. As part of that agreement, we agreed that they could move that storage building over to a piece of property that they own, with the understanding that they would complete it and put living quarters in it along with the storage. That never happened. Basically, the permit expired. I have not reissued another permit on that basis, and it's before you now as a public nuisance.
Thank you.
So.
Okay, explain. I will now open the public hearing. Are there any public comments? Discussion by the council?
Long needed.
Jerry?
Why does it need living quarters?
To conform with the zoning,
Residential zoning.
residential zoning.
And he knew that.
You knew all the stipulations going into that when he moved it there. Before, it wasn't a problem because there was a house adjacent to it. If you recall, Johnson owned the house, and then they built the building in the back, and then later Danny moved another house down there, and none of that was ever completed either, and we ended up demolishing all that, cleaning that up too.
Yeah,
He's made no progress on it since it was moved. I think other than he may have had electric service put into it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing.
So, was his plans to live there?
I don't know if his plans were to live there. The way he was talking at the time, I think he was talking about his son possibly living there.
Yeah,
But that's just speculation.
I guess there's a lot of barns being built these days for people living in,
Right. Yeah, shed homes are kind of starting to get a little popular, and we just got to be careful where they go and where the areas they go into.
So if there was of course, a house sitting on a property, then the shed wouldn't have to have living quarters.
Correct. Yeah, that would be considered an accessory building. The only limiting factor there would be the square footage based upon the square footage of the lot.
Okay.
Any more discussion by anyone?
So basically what happens if you approve this resolution, the city clerk will send a notice to Danny Johnson. He has so much time to remove it. And Otherwise, it starts levying a fine process.
Okay, then I will close the public hearing. And the clerk will read the resolution, please.
Resolution number 2023-8, a resolution of the mayor and city council of West Point, Nebraska, determining a nuisance to be found at 1140 West Park Street and directing abatement of the same.
Okay. We just need a motion. Rusty?
I'll make
Need
the
a motion?
Second.
Seconded by Tom. Cast your votes, please. Okay. Item D, bids. Catered meals at senior center.
We bid this every year. The catered meals will be going up to $8.25 from $7.75. One of the things that I will point out is in the past, the catered meals have been subsidized by the Nielsen Foundation. So you'll probably see a little bit more of a jump than what they're used to paying. We don't have any information on the Nielsen Foundation at this point, but it's, like I said, going from $8 to $8.25 from $7.75.
And we just pass that along to the
Right.
consumer.
Yeah.
There are dietary requirements that go with each meal, and that's what the basis is on. We have no other bids from any other entity either.
Any more discussion on this? Otherwise, I have the clerk read the resolution.
Resolution number 2023-9, be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of West Point, Nebraska, to accept the bid of St. Joseph Elder Services, Inc. to provide catered meals for the senior citizens center at a rate of $8.25 per meal for the period from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
Yeah, just need a motion to approve this resolution.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Gary, by Mark, seconded by Tom. Cast your votes. Current business, annual report from the West Point Volunteer Fire Department.
The annual report, the West Point Fire Department, as of right now, we have 39 members, the same as we had last year. We gained a few, lost a few. Those 39 members put in about 1,500 training hours. Last year, year to date, from May to May, we've had 116 calls. Last year it was 91, year before it was 80. In those calls, most of them were accidents, 31. Grass fires, field fires, that type of thing, 29. False alarms, 26. Hazardous calls, ammonia, CO2, that type of thing, 15. 6 car fires and a bin rescue. That amounted to about 2,100 service hours for last year. So quite a trend upward for calls. And when I thought this year started from January, it was going to slow up some, and then we hit April and we had 16 calls this last month. So yeah, and it's been a little bit of everything.
Anybody have any questions for Tom?
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
You did a good job.
Thanks, Shane. Shane, not so much.
Oh, yeah. Didn't write anything.
Jerry did.
I mentioned that.
He didn't write anything either.
Thank you for everything you guys do. Appreciate it. Okay, item 2, request from the Road Gems Car Club for use of the Nielsen Center and surrounding streets and parking lots for the car show on September 17th, 2023.
Hi, Roger Piles representing Road Gems Car Club, West Point Car Show. I think this year is September 17th. We're asking the city for funds, the same as we did the last previous years. $2,500, and then $1,000 toward the porta potties, and most importantly, use of the park and the roads surrounding the park, same thing as last year. Any questions?
I wasn't here last year, I don't know how it went, so.
I love the new format.
Went good.
We have a lot of people that really liked it. I liked it. There were a few people that would rather it was back on Main Street, but we just don't have the people.
It doesn't seem much smaller either when it comes to cars.
We've seen a decline in all
It's
the
a lot less walking.
Yeah. Yeah.
For us old people, that's important.
That was the one comment I heard that was a plus, was that it was a lot less walking, that you didn't have to
Yeah, it's a lot more condensed and
go so far to.
See it all.
The other thing they didn't like was that, before you used to have all the 57s and all the 40s and so on in one spot. Now they're kind of spread all over.
We're kind of a hybrid show. We're kind of a car show and a show and shine. We don't have classes anymore, so. But a lot of people like it this way because if they got a friend that wants to park next to him and he has a different class car, he can park next to him and be a little more friendly that way. So it's got its pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to do because there's not 400 plus cars, 500 cars to judge with limited resources.
Yeah.
We just need a motion to approve to do the same as we did last year.
Motion.
Tom made the motion.
I'll second.
Rusty seconded. Cast your votes, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roger.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, gentlemen. Item 3, the Chamber of Commerce request for financial assistance from the city for the annual 4th of July fireworks display. There should have been a letter. Everybody got a letter in the packet? Similar was.
Kind of similar, same request as always. I talked to Tom a little bit about the process of requesting these funds, because it truly is, a check goes to the chamber and then we've got a check for the same amount and hand it off to the volunteer fire department. Just kind of checking in to see if we need the chamber to continue to be a middleman or if it could be donated directly to the volunteer fire department, so that way you don't have to look at me so often. But because I know that they do a great job with the $5,000 from you, and then I know they do a lot of work, send out personal letters, put ads in the paper to solicit donations from businesses and individuals throughout the community too. But we plan to continue our tradition of the 4th of July celebration, thanks to Jerry and his crew with the fireworks. Last year we didn't have enough teams for a sand volleyball tournament, so that wasn't there, but every year we'll check. It's kind of the same thing with baseball. If there's people who are interested, then we help support a baseball game if that happens. So it's ongoing, and as far as planning the other things. We plan to have the KC barbecue down there again. We always have other food vendors. We have bounce houses, and if you have anything else, Tom, if you want to come down and paint faces, any of the people named Tom in the room, we take any of you. If you want to come down and paint faces or host a ring toss, we definitely take it. So if anybody's looking to needs a fundraiser, we're happy to let you host it during that, and we'll help market it. The chamber does not have any revenue for this event, but we do pay out for radio ads and newspaper ads. We do get a grant to pay for a portion of it from the Cumming County Visitors Bureau, because that front page ad, if you've ever taken one out, it's pretty pricey. So, but we think it's worth it for the community because it's open to anybody, any age. Everybody loves the 4th of July. So, any questions? No?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just need a motion to approve $5,000 for the fireworks display.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Shay, seconded by Tom. Motion carried. Item 4, the 2021-2022 independent audit. Receipt of the audit conducted by the Kersey and Associates MVT LLC. Everybody seen it?
Got it.
Yep, everybody's got it.
I've read every page.
Cover to cover, right?
Cover to cover.
You came with Cliff Notes, Justin.
I'll give you the cliff notes.
I know, I saw him in there. Summary.
I mean,
Okay, just need a motion to accept this audit.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Mark,
I will second.
seconded by Rusty. Okay. Okay, item 5, consider adjustment to the water service rate schedules. Tom will explain.
Yeah, you have that resolution in your packet. The average user is going to see about $1.68 to $1.76 per month increase. When we initiated the rates after the water plant was built, we said we'd come back and we'd review them again, and then we'd look at implementing those rates. Obviously, if you get into the rate structure and you are one of those that does a lot of lawn watering, you're going to see a little bit more of an impact. But we put a ton of water on lawns. It's really amazing, even so far this year.
I've been wondering.
How much sprinklers are going?
The other day it was up to 800,000.
Was it already?
Yep.
Wow.
That was, yeah.
You have to, because it gets so windy every day that you can't tell.
Dries it out. Yeah.
Can't hardly water during the day or night.
Or night.
I've been watering at 3 in the morning.
So I think Cumming County is still considered to be in a drought
Yeah.
too right now,
Yeah.
so. We haven't heard anything on curtailment yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear something later on this summer if it stays dry like this.
How are the well levels?
Well levels seem to be holding their own. They're actually doing pretty good. We just finished rehabbing well number 8, so it's coming back online here in the next couple of days,
Nice.
within the next week or so. So
Well, the lake doesn't seem to be filling up any at all.
it doesn't. No, it's just kind of holding its own.
We're still operating in the red, correct? In the water?
A little bit, yeah. Hopefully this.
Well, this will,
I see so much of that depends on usage.
right,
And that's why we kept this increase low,
right.
because we're expecting high usage again, so I think it's going to get us a little closer.
Do we need to raise it at all? I mean, how much are we in the red in the water?
I think we were,
Well, if you look at your treasurer's report under water operating, the end of April 30th, there was a negative 37,077.62.
And that's for the month?
But that's for the month.
Yeah, well, that's the end of April, it carries.
Year to date, yeah.
Okay, so over the course of the
Fiscal
year,
year.
then it's like
It's
80,000 maybe.
continuous.
You know, I get that. So like over the
Yeah.
course of a whole year, it's like 80,000.
Yeah.
it could be there. Like I said, the biggest variation there is the usage.
Sure.
Look how much it slides up and down.
This is an improvement
Over what it was, yeah, by far.
from where it was, and the summer months it will continue to improve.
Doesn't seem like a huge issue.
What do you mean? It doesn't seem like a huge issue, I guess.
Well, I mean, like, do we, if it's, I mean, for the amount of money that we maybe have in other funds, do we need to raise this rate necessarily?
These funds are all based on cost of service and they're standalone in utilities.
Okay.
So we look at them individually in their own merits and their own tiers.
Okay. All right. I'm just,
Right.
this might be a stupid question. So cost of service meaning that, how come, I mean, if we're cost of service like in the water, then are we cost of service in the electrical too then, or?
Yes. Yeah. All the utilities are based on cost of service. Yep.
Okay.
There are,
And the electrical utility is not in the red, correct?
no, it's not. The other thing too, based on that cost of service, is how much it costs to handle all the billing and transfers, so that you see the transfers coming out of water, sewer, and electric to support the office, the building, the
That goes back to the
computers.
general fund.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if it's operating in the red right now, it doesn't necessarily have to operate in the black. Or else we would have already changed it.
I guess I don't understand your question.
So I'm just asking like why we need to raise it now if it's already operating in the red.
Usually when we look at how we're gonna go into the year, this becomes our high volume part of the year. And that's where we can make up most of the ground is going into the spring and into the summer months.
Do we have a lower rate?
No. Not that I've ever been aware of.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna ask you just a general question.
Sure.
When was the last time the water ran in the black?
Oh,
It's been quite a while. I couldn't give you an
But
exact date.
yeah,
but
I mean,
it's-
since I've been on it, hasn't
Right.
it? I mean, that's not very long, but.
You know, one of the things that we looked at was initially the water rates, and then we ended up in the situation where we ended up doing the water
Right.
treatment plant
Right.
and the distribution system.
They had a lot of.
So we kind of set it back again until we knew exactly where things were gonna land and what our debt service requirements were gonna be for water. And that's what that's based on.
The water loan payment is made out of that.
Right,
Right.
right, from the revolving or the,
Yeah.
And I think where Shay's question is if that's been operating in the red forever, is there an opportunity from, say, a more profitable fund to do a slight transfer over to cover that, to not raise the rates? I know, I understand cost of service and why we do
Right.
that, I'm just, general question.
That's up to you. I mean, that'd be a council decision if you wanted to start crossing that way. It's not a recommendation in the industry,
Right.
but
we keep running into red, then if we need repairs and stuff, we don't have any money for that.
well, each of the enterprise funds should be on a standalone basis.
And when we raised them when we did the treatment plant,
Correct.
that was, I forget, I mean, it was $7 maybe a
Right.
average user, and we knew that there was a potential of that still be a shortfall.
Yeah, because when we're talking 100 cubic feet of water, we're talking about 750 gallons of water. Just to kind of put that in perspective.
I mean, if I'm looking at it as like a per month basis of like $1.40 or $1.60, I mean, obviously that's not much. I mean, we're not talking about anything substantial here. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes the principle of the matter, I think, is different than the price.
But you know, when you look at that and you look at the average user,
Right,
you know, you look at the average consumption numbers,
right,
that's where you're getting that $1.60 to $1.70.
yeah.
But if you're getting into the
Mine's gonna
people
be
that are
$30 a
pouring,
month.
yeah, I mean, you're getting into the people that are pouring it on their lawns
Right.
at exponential rates, they're gonna see $30, $40, $50 increases depending on how much water they use.
Sure. Yeah. That's why.
And some of them are pretty significant when they do that.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, when I looked at the numbers, I based it on what our billing month was. You know, our average bill for last month, I think was like 962 cubic feet is what the average is. But we get into the summer months with the sprinklers and everything going, that number will easily double.
Right.
Sure. I guess my point wasn't necessarily that, of course, it's different for every person, and I get that. I'm just saying though that whether it's $1.60 for this guy or it's $50 for the next guy, I'm just asking, is it necessary? And if, once again, if we're a cost of service and cost of service for water is that, and it runs in the red, and the cost of service for electric is what it is, and it runs in the black by $1 million.
Mhm.
I just don't get how we're I don't get the cost of service then, how one is a cost of service and they're both cost of services, one runs in the red and one runs in the black by $1 million.
I'm trying to figure out a good way to explain that one to you.
So,
I understand your point, but there's a significant difference in what we're doing on the electric side versus what we're doing on the water side. The electric is exponentially higher. You know, we're talking about a $6-7 million electric budget versus a $700,000-800,000 water budget.
Okay.
So some of those shifts and some of those dollars that you put in electric versus what you're putting in the water is a significant offset. Now, when we looked at the water rates back in, or the electric rates back in November of 2016, when we last changed them, we were looking at a different market. We were looking at the RTO market, and the RTO market is the regional transmission organizations. With SPP, we went to a fixed cost recovery program, which stabilized the electric rates. So that's what helped us build where we're at today without changing the rates any further than what was recommended back in November of 16.
so there's not like a standard percentage across the board of because it's all relevant to the size of the needs, right? Because like electric has way more overhead, this, that. So it's not like a 25% profit across the board to cover the cost of service, because there's water's.
Yeah, we don't look at it on a profit basis, I guess.
Right. And that's probably the wrong word for it, but.
Right.
Water, we're not having to pay an outside entity that's piped into town. Electric all comes in.
Right.
So we're at their mercy too.
Okay, any more discussion? And Debbie, would you read the resolution?
Resolution number 2023-10, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of West Point, Nebraska, establishing water service rate schedules pursuant to section 6-208 of the municipal code of the city of West Point, fixing dates for payment, providing for discontinuance of service for delinquency, fixing reconnection charges, and repealing all ordinances and resolutions in conflict with this resolution.
Can I make one more comment, or is that done?
Sure. Make it.
Okay. So once again, just we've offered to write a check or transfer funds from different departments before to cover whatever losses. I'm just saying that is that out of the question now?
That's not the norm.
I get it's not the norm, but we've offered to do it before, like in the pool.
Have we done it to cover losses or just for projects?
Well, when I look back at what we did is we did transfer some funds to pay off the water bond, so we wouldn't have the extra debt in the water bond when we went to the SRF. And that was a transfer from electric at that time. And then that was the council's choice of whether or not they want water to pay back electric or not. And right now, that's a no, because water doesn't have the funds to pay back electric and still maintain the debt service. So, you know, there have been internal loan transactions like that the council has approved. But when we were talking about it at the pool, we were talking about electric paying for the electric portion of the pool work.
That was the work that was being done on the bathhouse and the upgrade to the pump, wasn't it?
Right, we were looking at taking the electric portion of that project and let electric pay for that. And you obviously decided not to, which is fine.
Do you know what other communities our size have you seen or heard that they've also extended or raised rates in the last year to cover them?
A lot of them are looking at their rates as they come due for similar purposes. You know, if they're going through a water project like we did, then yes. You know, the same way we did the wastewater treatment plant. All those expenses go up. But anybody that's doing a water project, Scribner, for example, here 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, took a huge increase on water. In fact, their rates, I think, were almost double what ours are.
It went up like $50 a household
Yeah.
because they were screaming. And Penner might be in the same way. They got water problems up there. Penner does.
You know, part of the agreement when you sign on to the SRF is that you adjust your rates accordingly to cover the costs of the state revolving loan fund. But like I said, there again, that's your prerogative. I wouldn't recommend it.
Sure.
Yeah, just need a motion to
You got
pass this. Yes, Earl.
I think, doesn't Maine publish a handbook for all its members that?
Can you go up to the podium, please?
Oh, yeah, great. I believe Maine publishes a handbook with everybody's rates they serve, whether it's electrical or water. Wouldn't that be a good tool for the council to have? That puts everything in perspective. Are we too high? Whatever.
I'm not sure they still do that, Earl.
Okay.
From a mean perspective, I know the Rural Water Association does that on water and wastewater, and they actually physically break it down as to costs versus the type of treatment process you have and debt service you have on the books and that type of thing. So some of that's accounted for in there.
You think Maine quit doing that then?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing it in quite a few years now, but I don't have an answer for you on that one.
Yeah, just need a motion to pass this resolution.
Make the motion.
Motion made by Mark.
I will second it.
Seconded by Jerry. Cast your votes, please. Okay. Item 7, consider the interlocal agreement with Oakland, Nebraska for using the swimming pool for the 2023 season. Oh, that's the wrong one, yeah. Yeah, discuss the changing dates of the July and August city council meetings. Because the July meeting's on July 4th.
Right.
If you use John Park.
So typically what we do is we move it to the following day, which would be Wednesday, the 5th. And then I think we have some conflicts on August 1st, so we were talking about moving into the 7:38.
Let's skip the 8th. If we're gonna move it, let's not move it to another Tuesday.
Okay. Well, it's up to you guys.
Broke the 7th.
Just saying, yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Okay, we can do the 7th.
7th is fine.
Everybody's agreeing with that? Shay? Tom? Mark? Jerry?
I never asked her. I'll be here.
Okay. Okay. We need to vote on that.
Yeah.
What are the conflicts on the 1st of August?
I'm not gonna be here.
Just wanted for public record.
Okay, just need a motion to approve those dates.
I'll make that motion. Oh, second.
Motion made by Rusty, seconded by Ryan.
I think we should make a motion to move all of our summer meetings from Tuesdays.
Oh, that's right, you got pasture pool on Tuesdays, don't you?
Golf?
Golf.
Yeah.
That's what you
Pasture pool.
He doesn't know what that is. Consider the interlocal agreement with Oakland, Nebraska for the use of the swimming pool for 2023 season.
You know, Kathy Mann has done a ton of work on pulling this together, and she's done a great job getting the agreements together. That's what you have in front of you. Our city attorneys reviewed it. Our insurance carrier reviewed it. Everybody seems to be in favor of it, okay with it. As a one-time for the season, to keep the swimming lessons going for the kids and keep some of the lifeguards engaged, so.
Oh, nice, they'll pick up some of our employees possibly.
The employees will have an opportunity to work for Oakland also if they choose to.
Good.
But all the swim lesson fees and everything will stay with the city of West Point.
Good.
Everybody, okay, I'll have Debbie read the resolution, please.
Resolution number 2023-11, a resolution of the City of West Point, Nebraska approving the interlocal cooperation agreement with the City of Oakland, Nebraska for use of Oakland swimming pool.
Yeah, need a motion to pass this resolution, please. Motion made by Tom, second by Ryan.
Yep.
Cast your votes. Okay. Item 8, approve the health insurance renewal with the League Insurance Government Health Team.
Yeah, that's already coming around quickly. We're going to see about a 4.04% increase on our health insurance, which is still significantly lower than where we were prior to going to this light program. The Mutual of Omaha portion, which is the ancillary, which is the life insurance, dental, vision, and those things, those are all going to remain the same until 2025. So we won't see any changes on those. So it's still a pretty significant savings to the city of West Point, along with we're still out of the age-rated category, so we're in a pool. So that's where a lot of our savings came from.
I like it.
4%, that's not bad. Just need a motion to approve this.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Rusty.
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Okay. Number 9, approve special designated liquor licenses. GACC J-Fest fundraiser on June 9, 2023 at the Nielsen Center. Rushes for GACC Alumni Banquet on June 10, 2023 at the Nielsen Center. Cumming County Ag Society for August 10th through the 13th. Cumming County Fair, Neely Park and Fairgrounds. Cumming County Ag Society for the August 13th, 2023. Fair events to be held at the Nielsen Community Center. Cumming County Ag Society for the August 12th, 2023 fair event to be held at Anderson Ballfield. Just need a motion to approve all these liquor licenses, please.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Rusty,
Second.
seconded by Shay. Cast your votes, please. Item 10, approval of the council affiliated claim of Hugo Plumbing and Heating for services and supplies. Need a motion to approve this claim? Motion made by Tom,
I'll second.
seconded by Rusty. Cast your votes. Cast your votes. Okay. Item 11, discuss possible purchase of electrical generators. West Point electrical rates, status report on the dike upgrade, and estimate completion date.
Roll Boston, so trying to get some questions answered, I guess. On the first item is the, I guess you guys brought it up about purchasing standby generators. I've got a little bit of expertise in this field, so I thought maybe you want some comments. You know, the problem with standby generators is that they can only deliver to the customer during favorable circumstances. So if it's a tornado or bad snowstorm, if the power lines don't go to the customer, you can't deliver backup power. A long time ago, I think in 2008, we had a lot of, we had the Enterprise engine when it was running. I don't know that it was used very much, but we had it. Now that's not available, hasn't been available for where it's been. Standby generators kind of, if you purchase those, you have the potential of feeding customers that are out of electricity, but you also incur a lot of expenses. You know, you have to keep staff on at the power plant. You then, I'm not sure if those generators are certified for whatever, you know, the standards that, I think on the old Enterprise engine, you did a lot of upgrades to the exhaust. I'm not sure if these engines meet those.
You mean the engines we're looking at?
Yeah, the ones you're looking at.
Yes, they will all have to meet those Cadillacs, the Rice and Shep rules.
Okay, yeah. The other option, well, there's two other options. One is to buy generators, and the other option is to not have generators, which nearly all hardly any power suppliers have generators. Tony County Public Power doesn't. I think Wisner does, but there are not very many. Do you know of any other West Point size that has backup?
There are actually quite a few. Kimball, Curtis, Brogan Bow, Pender, just to name a few. Crete still has one unit left.
Does Wayne have theirs?
Wayne has theirs. Fall City just put in a new Wardzilla here a few years ago.
Right.
Nebraska City still has their units.
Okay.
There's quite a few out there.
Any larger towns or that you know of?
Larger towns?
Yeah.
Well, Nebraska City's larger.
10,000 or over?
Okay. I don't know if it's 10,000 or over. I don't know the population on all those towns.
Okay. Yeah. And the other option is to have, if somebody feels the need to have uninterruptible power supply, do like the hospital or other people, buy your own generator.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other, and that's almost 100% that they'd actually get electricity if there was a storm or the power lines went down. So, just some other options. Next item, I guess, I want to talk about a little bit was the electrical rates, and you guys kind of touched on that a little bit. So the rates, the electrical rates in West Point are one of the highest in the state, have been since they got raised. The recommendation to raise the rates was actually put forward by our power supplier, me. Anyway, so I think there's an opportunity there. You guys in the past, not you guys, but the council has in the past, when they had excess funds in electrical, they give a free month of electricity. So I think it's tough to change rates and to lower them even if they need to be lowered. So the advantage of giving a free month of electricity is you can evaluate how your funds are doing, and then once a month or once a year you can say, okay, this year we're going to give December free. And that amounts to, Tom, I have to look up the figures, probably about a 6%. That's definitely the highest months are the summer months. But that's one way to help your customers out, which are citizens of West Point. And you know, there's a lot of money in the electrical fund. Okay, so that's something you're free to consider at some point. It's a lot easier doing that than it is to change rates. It's hard to change a rate schedule. Last item, I think, is, I'm trying to make this quick, is I want to know the status of the levy. Is that, it's been a long time, right?
It's been a really long time, yeah.
A long time.
Last conversation with JEO was about mid-April, and the Army Corps' report to JEO was that they're about 95% through the review process. So we're expecting 100% approval pretty much any day now. That was
from JEO, is that what you mean?
from JEO, yeah. From the Army Corps to JEO, yes. And then once we get the approval from the Corps, we'll be ready to go out for bids and see where the project lands.
Do you have an anticipated completion date, or?
I've had a lot of anticipated completion dates for that thing, Earl, and I don't think it'd be fair to try to outguess the Corps, because we were expecting them to have that approval by the end of April. And here we are, May 1, and I haven't heard a thing. So
but hopefully we can still get out to bid yet. this
We're
late
hoping to get out there
early
this
summer.
spring, yeah, late spring, hopefully early summer. That's the goal we're shooting for, if we get those approvals.
Yeah, there's been 8 flood events since 1993.
Mhm.
And I think I stopped here in 2012, after the 2010 flood, because really nothing's happened, and asked the same question, right?
Mhm.
And at the time, it was easy to blame the Corps at the time, but they actually showed up in 2016 and said, this is for the, let's give you a little history on the dike. So Chicago Northwestern Railbed, when it existed, in 64, when the dike was completed, was the high spot, so that wasn't part of the levee. So then in something like 87 or so, they tore off the levee with the Chicago Northwestern Railbed, which made it the weakest spot in the whole system. And which wasn't under control of the Corps. So anyway, in 2016, they actually came here and said, go ahead and we don't even have to get involved in that. You guys could have fixed it by yourself, which would have been nice in 2019 when the last really high flood came. I mean, you had the capability of doing that without Corps intervention. But it's not moving real quick. And the Corps has kind of signed off on everything, so. Anyway. Yeah, and I guess, yeah, it was scheduled to be done at one point in 2017 by 2021, but that's long gone. So we don't know.
I just have what I gave you today as a report on where the levee stands.
But aren't you guys in control somewhat?
But the only thing we have control of is once the bids go out, whether or not the council awards the bids to the contractor. Until that time,
We can't touch it
we
till they
can't
tell
do
us.
anything with it.
Okay, I believe you can, but it's a handy excuse, and I know you used that excuse back after 2019, Mr. Mayor, that waiting on the Corps of Engineers, but you weren't, because they were here in 2017 and said, go ahead with what used to be the Chicago Northwestern Railbed, which is the lowest spot in the deck, so, whatever.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I got one more resolution to read. Resolution number 2023-12.
Is that accurate though?
What?
That we could have done something in 2000. I'm just curious, just for, I mean, we're saying stuff in a public setting, or we're not going to say if it's true or false, and we could have done something.
I've had this discussion before, and it's not true. It's not by any means true that the Corps would allow us to adjust the levee because of the inspection process that they're required to go through. If we would have done anything to the levee that the Corps did not approve, we'd have been thrown out of the program. And the Corps would not have supported us when we had to do the sandbagging and that type of stuff, when we did that at the 2019 flood. And they would not have came in and done the repairs that they did do.
Sure.
Because it would have put us out of the program.
I'm just saying, like, when somebody comes to the microphone and says something that, and like calls out the city, I was just asking if we just refute that and say, like, no, I mean, we couldn't have done it. As opposed to just saying, like,
We can do it.
okay, if you didn't say anything, though.
I did say it to him.
That's just a reprint from the newspaper saying that the Corps was here. And if you believe the newspaper.
Does the Army Corps, they don't do any engineering really? I mean, they rely on JEOs, all of their stuff to make decisions? I mean, there's,
At this stage, yes.
I mean,
That's my understanding. Because all those submissions from JEO, they have their own set of hydraulics and calculations that they run through at the Corps to substantiate what the improvements are going to be. Because at the end of the day, once the Corps approves the levee, then the next step is to get the FEMA approval. And then once that's all done, if anything ever happens to the levee further on down the road, then it becomes a Corps issue to repair it, replace it, rebuild it.
And we're talking about the portion of the levy that is not the accredited levy, correct, right now?
Correct, that's what the initial problem was, and that's the low point. And, yeah, and they don't, if you believe the newspaper, you know, they were here at a meeting because everybody blamed them. And they said, no, you guys can go ahead and fix the part that's not part of the levy, which was the weakest and lowest spot. But that didn't happen.
The Corps is, from my perspective, is always accredited that part of the levy.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yes.
What's that?
The Corps is always accredited that part of the levy, the old Chicago Northwestern right of way.
Okay.
Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Right, that's the understanding we've always had with our.
And that is why we
Our
haven't
levy
touched it.
inspections and everything else, because there's a drainage way up there that was always subject to Corps inspection. And that is directly on the Chicago Northwestern Drainage Way, or Railway.
You know, I mean, it says that they're willing to let the city build upon the levy, but it still has to be engineered. I mean.
It still has to be engineered and it still has to be approved.
But is what they're saying is we don't have to tear that out and start from scratch is what I kind of, because it took a long time for him to say yes to that.
You can, Jerry, you can go down there and do anything you want on the levy, and you can add it, you can add to it, and you can build it up.
Yeah.
It's whether or not the Corps would recognize
Yeah, I
those
understand,
improvements.
and I would not recommend that. I'm just saying that.
Right,
It took them a long time to tell us we could do that.
yeah,
But my understanding is we just can't go down and pile on dirt there because it has to be
Right.
engineered.
yes.
So they told us we'd be able to use that and we don't have to tear it out and start from scratch.
The way I've always understood it is if we made did any kind of work on that railroad right of way, and it caused a failure in the levee, we're screwed.
Mhm.
If the work we did caused a failure in the levee, then the Corps would say, you altered that without our permission, and FEMA's not gonna help you one little bit.
Tom, I think you were here when they actually had two people from the Corps here in 2016. I believe you were on the council then. And so was the mayor. And they disagreed with what you said. If you don't remember
That's
that.
the way I've always heard it.
Okay. Well, yeah. because-
My ears heard different than yours, I guess.
Well, when they're talking about the Corps, I believe the Corps when they say it. And I've talked to them personally, many times. But they are a good scapegoat for not having progress. Because they don't show up very often, and it's hard to talk to them directly. We did manage to get them here. So anyway, you know, it's been a long time.
But as part of the new project, we're gonna try to get that incorporated all in with that, right?
That is part of it.
Yeah.
That definitely is part of it. It goes all the way from 13th Street to,
Right.
Beads, right?
Beads.
right,
Yeah.
So to get dirt, do they have places picked out already? Do they have any of that done?
they'll have to do some proctors and get the right soils.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a year before they get going, that's my opinion.
Don't say that.
Well, I know, I mean, it has been a long time but there's,
Kind of like the highway.
but there's a lot of projects going on all over the state, all over everywhere.
Progress there after 30 years.
We don't have the problem with funding that they have down south and other places. And
Well, you also have to keep in mind too, we've got a little bit of interest in a little over $3 million in grant funds sitting there that have been supporting this project to move in this direction.
Right.
So anytime you decide you want to circumvent that, I don't think you should. You know, we have, 1.4 million from the Lower Elkhorn NRD, and I think right around 2 million from the Water Resources Fund.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's all tied to how you do your project and how the project is led.
actually, I don't know if you remember, but I actually got Laura Cohen Natural Resource District cost share this. They came to a meeting. Do you remember Ken Burney a long time ago?
I do remember that.
Yeah, so, yeah, they agreed to pay for half the project. And the natural resources have another 1.25 million, I think, so. But
I don't know about those numbers, Earl.
Remember how we felt during March of 2019? Helpless. It's because of all the volunteers in this town that saved our butts. But it could have been prevented before that, because we knew about it a long time before that.
Well, the portions of the levee that we ended up sandbagging were part of the original levee.
Some parts were, right?
The majority of it was.
That's what we're talking about, fairgrounds school.
Right.
They did.
The majority of it was along the fairgrounds, along with the under seepage that we were having problems with.
There's,
And all that was alongside the
down there
fairgrounds.
by the, where that nursery is right now, right?
Back by
Yes.
where the
Yeah.
pump, where the pump is.
Yeah.
I've got pictures here if you want to refresh your memory.
I do too, but I guess I
So,
a whole bunch of stuff that shows the height.
Well, I do think that levee's done us a great deal of good through the years. It's breached down by the trailer court when they had that down there. We were evacuating the 3rd Ward. And it didn't break. I think it's served us good for what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Building.
And I think we're all ready to get the new one done and behind us, so.
There you go.
So
That's
we-
all I'm asking.
yeah.
The levy does a great.
I think that's all of our goal here is to try to get this thing wrapped up just as soon as we
Yeah,
can.
there you go. Okay, I agree.
So,
You can get that?
City council.
Resolution number 2023-12 to approve application payment number 6 in the amount of $295,026.16. Christensen Construction Company for the West Point Aquatic Center project. Do I have a motion to approve this payment?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Rusty, seconded by Tom. Jerry? Okay, on to reports. I don't have anything.
the only thing I've got is we're gonna start flushing May 8th, which will be Monday. You guys can start going through the system. We'll go again through the low side and then up through the high side. Takes probably not quite a week. We'll get through pretty quick. It's cleaning up pretty fast, so. They'll take care of our spring flushing and see how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah?
Some towns, I think Norfolk for sure, flushes at night, and they advertise that. So for the convenience of their customers, because flushing creates a lot of problems. Doing laundry and whatever, you know how it does work, so just something to think about if you're interested in the convenience of citizens.
Thanks.
Yep.
The only thing I got is, I think this spot over here in the highway has got worse in the last 2 days.
Yeah, that one over there
We
by,
need to do something with
that
that.
opened up.
So,
Yeah.
yesterday I drove across that and I could tell it was noticeably worse. That is it.
Jerry?
Up there on North Colfax Street, I know that sidewalks are such a terrible issue in town, but where we put that main in and everything there, and that we tore out sidewalk in that, on that west side, and it wasn't worth 2 cents anyway. But I think we need to have that something put back there.
Yeah, it's gonna go back. We've
It
had a
is.
conversation with them, because we're gonna go with a transition there, that similar to what's across the street, you know, so it's, has the ramp. But yeah, Tony's, I think, is gonna do that for him,
Oh, all right.
and that'll be a shared cost.
And then that is the street up there by Live, Love, Learn, I mean, that's, we need
Oh,
to,
yeah, that went down again.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think I don't know what's under there. We need to not just fill up, we need to do some scratch in there and see what's under there, make sure there's no old clay storm sewers there.
Yeah, it dropped pretty big, again.
It's, where's that at?
It's over there by,
Across the street.
What we need to do is pretty much replace that street.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Pull that up
across
Yeah.
and replace that.
Part
one.
of the east side of the street.
That sounds expensive.
I guess.
Oh, yeah, the old school.
I
It's on the.
And
east
then we
side
need
of
that,
the-
yeah,
they
there's the old storm
Yeah.
drains that used to be in there, and I think that's some of what we're seeing, Jerry.
Yeah.
Don't start down here, we're gonna tear that house like a street.
More, Jerry?
I have a list tonight. Can you believe that?
Sweet.
First and foremost, it's my son's 16th birthday, so everyone be careful and watch out. Second of all, he drives like his father. Second of all, I've had a couple citizens approach me about this, and well before I was on city council, I was a repeat offender of this. But Bridge Street by the pool and is not good right now. People are flying down there. I used to think it was an interstate before I realized that it's not. And so I actually went there a couple times over the weekend when it was nice. Sat there and people were flying. I mean, with the new pool and the amenities and the park and the amenities, I know we're not fans of speed bumps and stuff like that, but I feel like we need to do something, signs, something, but it's, I mean, I bet the average speed is 38 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's, and again, I look down myself sometimes when I'm taking that road, and I'm, not anymore, previous to city council. But I mean, it really is, and with everything that's happening there, I see it being an issue. And so I don't know what we want to do, but I feel like we should start brainstorming about
Take a look at it.
taking a look at what can be done. Especially, like I said, is with the park and how awesome it is now, and the pool gonna be next year. You know, I don't know what we do, but.
Ignored sign, construction going on, slow down.
Well, I just,
Well, I mean,
it's not even the construction, I think
It's even afterwards, is what you're thinking, something. Yeah.
something, whether it's a flashing speed sign or
Afterwards, too.
it's just with the traffic, I mean, apparently it's always been bad, but there's more traffic now that the weather's nice with the park and the new amenities, right? So a lot more people are going and using it, and so you have a lot more normal slow traffic, you know, speed limit traffic, and then you still have the crazy people in my ward just flying down, you know.
We have to make the intersections on Bridge Street like the intersections on Park Street.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know,
Big
Oh, the
dips.
dips.
and I've never been that cognizant of it, and like I said, I sometimes have to look at myself, and I went and parked there a few times, and I just was, if I had a radar gun, I guarantee it would have been somewhere 40 plus, just flying.
I don't think it's any faster than what goes up Sherman Street.
Well, I agree with that too.
I've chased
I agree
4
with that
cars
too.
working on Colfax Street, and there was 2, I could hear them come off the highway, spinning and flying. I got to my truck, and I couldn't catch them, they were up, and I couldn't identify the car, there from the public school parking lot there.
Yeah. And
if I could have, I would have done something about it. I chased 2 of them down, and the kids ran in the house, and I was not gonna approach the house
Yeah, no,
without a police officer.
That's another bad one too.
But I've chased, that's what my dad used to do, and I don't chase fast, otherwise I could have caught him.
Probably was
I think any street, is just,
Silver Cherokee.
I don't know,
He didn't catch that one.
you know, I think he knows I have an overall, I don't know.
Kid's car.
But
He's not turning the cat line?
Well, I go slow in that.
Slow
No need
low.
speed bumps for that. I got one more. Thank you, Debbie, for sending the form for people to get on the agenda, and then the link to the website, which brings up some other issues. I don't like the website at all, actually, but that's a whole different piece. You have to go to permits. It's not a permit. You know what I mean? We need some better
Language.
forms, like some better links to get to documentation. Because I think there was like 7 permits under the 30 documents that are under permits. So just some cleanup like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to grow a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a redesign. But we'll talk about that. And we just did that.
Yeah.
Tommy, everything?
No.
Mr. Ryan?
Yeah, I too had a list. My son shot got third. Over there by where JD's property used to be, the JD's, a lot of overnight trucks are parking there, semis.
Oh, really?
And running their engines, and a number of the families that backed up to that property have complained the last couple months. And I neglected to bring it up last city council meeting, but wanted to make sure that that was made aware, and so maybe you guys can let PD know. And it's in the overnight hours that they're parking on that
Well, we'll
property.
check with the owner first.
Sure, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know there's no signage there that states, but yeah.
Maybe there could be.
And then we're talking about roads, Colfax and Neely. It's gotten worse again, and I don't. It's yeah.
We are going to
Yeah,
have,
but
they're supposed to have an asphalt paver coming in here before too long. We were gonna talk to them about maybe doing a couple of quick overlays while they're here.
yeah.
But
But and
32 east, I think.
I was going to mention the Colfax and what Rusty mentioned too. That I recall that being completed, and then just seeing it just most recently, I was like, gosh,
Yeah.
there's got, like Jerry said, there may be something underlying going on there.
That's terrible dirt. We're gonna have to haul dirt. Take that out. That's like glacial till stuff in there. And if anybody remember the Nielsen Center when they built that, they hauled glacial till and gooey, sticky clay that shrinks the swells on Anastott Boulevard, and they would not put their street on there. So we spent $22,000 to take that dirt that they hauled out and brought new
Took
in.
it back out.
But I know that that's gonna need dirt taken out, and put decent dirt, and that's what it is there.
And then lastly, Tom, thanks for the communication this month with just kind of those updates.
I'll try to do that like
Yes.
middle of the month.
Yeah, just really appreciate it.
Very beneficial, thank you.
Might be brief, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. That's it for me.
Okay, Jay?
I echo the last sentiment on that. It's very nice to see that. And I'll just say, like, whatever, anything that's happened here with the discussion, just asked if we could have done something about this. Once again, I'm just saying that, I mean, if somebody comes to the microphone and says, basically calls you guys liars, that, I mean, normally I would say that I would just respond to that, and nobody responded. That's why I was just curious. So, once again, nothing to get defensive about, just a question. So, it's all good. This is public settings, right? So we're supposed to talk about these things in public settings, not before the meeting, not after the meeting, in public settings.
You listen.
That's what I was told last month. Settings. So,
Okay, anything else?
that's all I got.
Just need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Tom, seconded by Rusty.
Yeah. I've also, that link is still